Using arbitration to resolve sporting disputes would allow the parties to benefit from the expertise of particular arbitrators, which individual judges might not yet have. So for localized sports, technical disputes, multi-layer regulations, having an expert involved would give the parties confidence that their dispute is being examined and being analyzed on all relevant points and dimensions by a competent expert. I'd like to talk about current disputes in Thailand and what they've been like in the past 5 years. So there's a huge growth potential for the resolution of sporting disputes, as I've said. Disputes are increasing in frequency, diversity, and complexity with regards to various types of sports. Examples that I would like to include are individual contracts. I put there Bokao. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with him, but he is a famous Muay Thai fighter who got into a dispute with his training camp over competition entries. Specifically, he wanted to enter into certain competitions that had not been previously agreed with his training camp. Now, which is typically how such things are handled over contractual disputes. But due to lengthy proceedings of litigation, the parties actually negotiated a settlement. Now, if THAC had been able to advise Bokao, we probably would have recommended that he come use our mediation facilities first, so that this dispute might have been resolved more quickly. Other types of disputes include association elections. There's Football Association of Thailand, the National Shooting Sport Association, and the Amateur Boxing Association of Thailand. They've all had association election disputes that they've used arbitration mechanisms to resolve. And a very recent dispute that is still, that I think is still not yet finalized, is a case that I would label stadium mismanagement, although some here who are familiar with the dispute might disagree with me. There were two teams, members of the Football Association of Thailand, who got into a dispute over something that happened due to inclement weather to some extent. They were at a match, Sukhothai FC versus Nakhon Pathom United. They were at a match, Sukhothai was hosting, they were the venue, and then there was a thunderstorm breaking up the match. I think 9 minutes into the second half. The thunderstorm was so severe that there was a power outage, and then Sukhothai venue was not able to resume the match because of the power outage. Now they resorted to a disciplinary board procedure where it was decided that Sukhothai was actually at fault for not having on-site personnel competent enough to restore power, but then that was appealed, and Sukhothai was in the lead, actually 1-0 when the match was suspended. So that decision was appealed, and several steps down the process was that the match should be continued, but at a neutral venue, which Sukhothai was not happy about either, because they said it was their right to hold that particular match at their venue, and their fans would be disappointed. They would also be losing income because of that opportunity cost. This case actually went to arbitration through the Football Association of Thailand, and it was the first such case to use that arbitration mechanism. The arbitral board most recently, 2 weeks ago, had decided that there should be an entire rematch starting from the beginning at a neutral venue. So Sukhothai obviously was not happy with that, and they went to the local courts. And the local court has recently decided to impose an injunction, so the match is now indefinitely suspended. So that is the complicated procedure that this particular dispute went through. And I think that you can see that the complications of this dispute would not have occurred to this extent had there already been an institutionalized dispute resolution mechanism in place to resolve such types of disagreements. I forgot to explain. These are actually pictures of what happened in the wake of the thunderstorm at the Sukhothai venue. So you can see the venue was actually struck by lightning, and the winds were quite severe. I think that might be the rest area on top, and on the bottom is the fan area. So you can see that there was a large damage as well. Right. Now, moving on to what THAC thinks, hopes, has ambitions for sports ADR in Thailand. We've divided this up into short-term, mid-term, and long-term. I'll go through them in separate steps. But this is just an overview of what we think we would like to see happen in Thailand in, say, the next 6 months through the next 10 years. So for the short term, what we need to do right now is raise public awareness. Now, THAC, we held the first ever Sports ADR seminar in Thailand at our new facilities in September. You can see some familiar faces in the picture. There's me, obviously. Next to me is a gentleman who's also in this room, Richard, went to share his expertise with us. Next to him is a local expert, Vinayak, and then there's also a senior staff from THAC there. So I had personally asked those who were attending the seminar, about 40 in all, whether they had attended such an event in Thailand before, and they had said no, which led me to realize that there's a need for this type of public awareness in Thailand, particularly in the sporting community, because several of them weren't aware that ADR could be used to so many diverse types of disputes in sports, and that THAC also provides those types of services that could be helpful to them. Seminars are one way in which we could bring together the sporting community in Thailand to raise public awareness. There are also other ways that we're doing. We're working with local universities to raise awareness for the next generation, and I'll talk about that in a subsequent slide. Now, for short to midterm, in addition to raising public awareness, we would also need to collaborate with local sports associations to actually use ADR to resolve sporting disputes. Hopefully, we would be able to develop with their collaboration a mechanism for settling local sporting disputes that are cost-efficient, time-efficient, non-contentious, and also pre-approved by the governing association, so that it reflects what it is that they actually need. When I talk about local sports, I'm also including traditional Thai sports, of which there are 3 pictures here. There's a Chakra, I think on top, you can't see. Then there's a Muay Thai there in the middle. And then at the bottom, I think, is Gabri Gabong, which is a type of a sword fight, very traditional in Thailand. So moving on to the midterm, we would need to inspire the next generation to be aware of using ADR to resolve sporting disputes as well. We already work with local universities, top universities like Olbourne, Thammasat universities, other